Yeah.
Okay, now about the Hebron family, what is the story of when did they leave Hebron?
So so the family escaped. So I heard it's
Yeah.
you probably can read about it. The Custer
What
family.
do you say in your family? What's the
Yeah, the
story?
story they escaped or left Spain during the acquisition, moved to Gaza. From Gaza, they moved to Hebron, which they lived many years. The Castel family, they lived there. My
What's the last name?
Castel,
Okay.
like the painter, and my my grandfather, when he was young, he thought of traveling, and he had an uncle in Mexico. So I thought, well, I'll move to Mexico and work there a little bit. It was the beginning of the 20th century in Israel. He took a boat, went to France, stopped in France because he had to change boats. Saw there's a lot of beautiful ladies and good food. Stayed there for a few years. Came back here, moved to Tel Aviv, lived in Shenkin. Met my grandmother, which came from Saloniki. Fell in love with her. And
So when did they leave? When did you leave Hebron? What year?
probably 19. 19.
It was
16?
before. So it was before the 1929 riots.
Yeah.
So when all the Jews left?
Yeah, some of my family was there in the riots, and I think some of them left. I don't know the details. I'm not very. I don't know exactly when the rest of the family left. Some of them moved to Jerusalem, some to other places.
Okay. Now, do they talk about in your family about the relations between Arabs and Jews at that time in Hebron?
Oh, my grandfather is dead for many years, but we used to talk a lot about different things, and he grew up among Arabs, and he traveled with them. They used to take horses and go to Gaza, and it sounds quite peaceful in general. Of course, it's easy to, create a beautiful picture of history. I don't know the detail. I don't know, about riots.
No, but from his perception.
From his perspective, as far I remember, as a young kid, when he told me these stories, it sounds very romantic and very beautiful and very different than what we are now. They used to go to Gaza with horses, sit on the beach in Gaza on a cafe. People from, they were all inhabitants of this land. So they were like, in other countries, there were different religious inhabitants of the same land, and they live in a certain way in co-ed. Of course, there were clashes. This is the way of humankind.
Okay. Do you think, from what you know of your grandfather, would you call him a Zionist? Do you think he believed in that?
He was born here. I think Zionists are people who came from other places in a way, with an idea. Zionism is a dream or vision. It's the same like when I meet Jewish people that were not born in Israel and then practice Judaism much more because they need a certain identity. For me, I don't, that's me. I don't have to think about it, and even if I go against it, it still stays me, so it doesn't really matter. And the same thing about my grandfather, he was just like, he was Israeli, he was born here. Before the word Israel was exist or not exist, doesn't matter. So I don't think he was Zionist. He loved his country just because it was really like his land for generations, and he grew up here and this is what he knew, but he traveled for many years, he came back here. I don't think he was a very political person as well.
Okay. Fair enough.